Hello, I'm Charles Vanderpool, the translator of the Apostolic Bible, Old and New Testament. I just finished going through the whole Bible, chapter by chapter, with about 1,300 or so videos on YouTube and Vimeo. Each chapter has its own video, except for a few exceptions. Going through the Old Testament is interesting because of the Greek that it was translated into from the Hebrew by the rabbis or whoever it was, but a couple hundred years before Christ. The Old Testament is very heavy in nouns, calves, buildings, cities, names, except for the prophets. The prophets are heavier in prophecy and therefore many verbs, a lot of verbs, and difficult to translate because of Greek verbs have thousands of different endings and you have to look them up to find out what they are unless you have a good memory. The prophets also are prophesying about something that is sort of an enigma. It's something that is hidden. It's called a mystery. Things that are going to happen right after the time of the prophet writing, or in the future, maybe today, or in the far future, 1,000 years from today or more. The Greek New Testament, which I also finished, is a little bit different. It's noun-heavy, also in the Gospels, people, places, things, in Acts, and the book of Revelation. You have stars. I even have a book on all the entities, of which most of them are nouns, angels, cities, and so forth. But when you get into the epistles, then you get into verbs, ideas, and so it's much more difficult to translate. But we're going to do the translation of the New Testament next. It's going to be different than the model that we did in the last videos of the Old and the New Testament. They featured the English text more than the Greek. Now I'm going to feature the Greek text as much or the same amount as the English, so there'll be a learning of the Greek scriptures as God had the New Testament written in Greek. So you'll be learning the basic communication of God to man in the purest form you could possibly find. Now, the Apostolic Bible, it's a system that I'll be teaching, and the system is interesting. And to learn the New Testament scriptures, you don't have to climb Mount Everest. You don't have to go to any class. You don't have to go to a Bible college or a seminary. You don't have to memorize paradigms and go through grammar without touching the Bible. You don't have to spend any money on books except a few downloads, which are very minimal amount. So basically it's pretty much free. It'll be fun because we're going to go and use the grammar that I'll show here, but in the way we go of going through the actual Word of God right at the very beginning. The next video I have will be in the first section of Matthew. So we'll start in the Word of God, and it'll always be the Word of God which we're trying to learn, not Greek grammar. It's not going to be any tests, very little memorization, as I mentioned, except maybe you might want to learn the paradigm of the Greek article, because it helps you understand many things in grammar. We'll go through this in our study guide and show you how that works. There's no tests, can't fail, and I believe that you'll end up knowing more about the Greek New Testament than 99% of the college students and seminary students that take classes in Greek grammar. We're going to start off with the Analytical Lexicon, which you can download or buy the book. Here's the book, and it's also has at the beginning, it has the study guide. The study guide is right here. You can see it. I'll have a link to it on the bottom of the page on Vimeo and YouTube. And you can see it's a study guide, and it goes through beginning Greek. It goes through a lot of things. I could sit here and do it all on a video, but it's there already. And then steps to learn, and then pronunciation. Now there is a pronunciation video. It's right here is a picture of the first page, and this will be, it's on our website, apostolicbible.com, and the link will be at the bottom of the page also. So first I would suggest going through the pronunciation guide, and then downloading the study guide, which is free. You don't have to buy the Analytical Lexicon. It goes into the parts of speech, which is the building block of all the words in the Greek Bible. We are going to be going through the New Testament in the order of the Gospels. First, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and then Acts. And then in Acts, it's a timeline. As we go through Acts, well, maybe, I'm not sure if I'm going to or not, but it's thinking about interspersing the letters of Paul and Peter and James and Jude, when they're in the timeline of the book of Acts, wherever they are, wherever we'll be, and then add that book, of the letter of Paul or whatever, in that space in between the location in the book of Acts. And then after that, we'll finish with the book of Revelation. So I hope you join us going through the New Testament and becoming a translator yourself and finding out all the wonderful things that God has in His Word in the basic Greek, things that you may not know, things that have been translated incorrectly, and you'll see the correct translation, and many other wonderful things. So I hope you join us, and until the next time, God bless.